All right. So I'm here with Tim Alwell, and after doing coaching, copywriter coaching with me for an extended period of time, I got him to agree to come on and share a little bit of his story and the impact that the coaching has had. So Tim, first off, welcome and thank you for being here.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, awesome. I like to start these by kind of getting a picture of where you were at beforehand. So you actually had like a copywriter position, but can you go into a little bit more detail about where you were as a copywriter before coming to me, and what you saw as your biggest challenges or opportunities for growth?
Yeah, of course. So prior to hiring Roy as my coach, I was working at an agency for about 3 years. I came on as an entry-level copywriter. I did have some copywriting experience prior to that, building my own blog and basically just trying to learn on my own. But this was the first time I was engaged in an actual job opportunity to be a copywriter. And so I had 3 years of experience at that agency where I was writing all types of copy. I was doing website copy. I was doing a lot of video scripts. I was doing some Facebook ads. I was doing some email copy. I was getting a lot of great reps. And the thing that I really loved about it was that I did get a lot of reps in a lot of different formats of copy, but also I had a great copy chief on my team. He was the director of marketing strategy. And it was someone that I could always go into his office and ask questions like, okay, what do you think about this hook or this angle, or can you read through this and hole poke it? Is the argument solid, or what do you feel like is missing? And that always gave me a lot of reassurance as someone who is still developing and sharpening his skills as a copywriter. Now, once I left that job and I transitioned into this new opportunity where I was now one of the only copywriters on the team, and I was in charge of doing daily emails. I was in charge of having quick one-on-one calls with our clients to soundboard their messages and help hole poke their own copy. Well, I didn't have that copy chief anymore. And we were a fast growing company. There was a lot of responsibility that was being thrown at me. And what I really, really wanted was someone who could fill that role of copy chief, read my daily emails, hole poke it, tell me if the argument was solid, what was missing, and just help me refine that. I wanted someone who I could take some of my clients' messages and bring them on calls and be like, hey, Roy, this is kind of a new industry for me. And I really want to do a great job with serving these clients. And I would love your eyes on this. And is there anything that you see that I'm not seeing? So I really wanted that personal one-on-one just mentor to develop and refine my copy skills. And Roy was that person. And he really helped me build my confidence as a copywriter so that I could go back to my company and really show up as the person that I wanted, show up in the leadership position as the copywriter and know that I was doing a good job.
Yeah. So you were in this place where like you already knew that there was some extra X factor to having a mentor versus just going through training and books and all of that stuff. So you already had that and you'd experienced it. I think what's cool about your story is that you brought enough awareness to that, I guess, of saying like, oh, in this old role, I had somebody that I could do this with, and it was highly valuable. In this new role, I don't necessarily have that. So I guess I'm going to ask a little bit of a different question than I prepped you with. And that is, in your old job, you actually, so there was no investment in having that mentor. You had a copy chief. It was their role. What was the, like investing in copywriting coaching, that is a fairly significant investment. So what's that thought process like in terms of, feeling confident in, oh, I have this problem, there's this solution out here, but is it going to be a good investment for me?
Yeah, 100. Well, good question. And I've never been someone who was bashful about investing in themselves.
Yeah.
So really the objection in my own mind was, hey, can I get my company to help pay for this? Which they were happy to do because they believed in me. And so, I'm one to read all the copy books. I'm one to read a bunch of watch a bunch of videos and buy a bunch of products and go through it on my own. But in all those vehicles, what's really lacking is the personal attention, like the person that I can hop on a call with and be like, hey, I'd love to spend the next 20, 30 minutes just talking this out, because hearing someone who's really seasoned and who's an expert in copy, being able to talk out their thought process and how they think about structuring an argument, and to especially around a specific scenario, something that's very like specific, and leaving the generalities off the tables. Like that's what you don't get from reading a book about copy. That's what you don't get by watching a video. It's like, I have a specific situation with a specific client who has a specific message, and I want someone to review that, all that specificity, and tell me how to structure this argument in a way that's bulletproof. And once I was watching your videos for 2 years prior to reaching out to you for this coaching engagement. So I already learned a ton about you. I already knew you had the value. And once the email hit my inbox that you were opening up slots for a coaching program, it was like the snap of the finger. I made the decision. It was just about getting my company to buy in on the investment, which they were cool to do. And so,
yeah,
yep.
your company really reinforces that belief that investing in coaching is going to pay off, and it's just a matter of figuring out how.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say about that is, my company owners believed in me as my copywriter, but I am, like a lot of copywriters, I feel like I have this sense of perfectionism. I have this sense of imposter syndrome, and I don't want my company owners to kind of know that. And so they put their trust and belief in me, but at the same time, I didn't want to over leverage them and have to always lean on them for, hey, does this sound good? What do you think about this? They hired me to fill that role so that they didn't have to think about that. So it provided me a lot of peace of mind and comfort knowing that I had you there to kind of soundboard these ideas without like letting my insecurities show to my company owners.
Yeah. So are there some specific, so one thing is clearly the just having somebody on your side, having somebody in your corner that's there to help, that fills that role for you, right? So aside from that, and not trying to devalue the importance of that, but were there specific like strategic things, tangible, tactical things that jump out at you over the course of our work together up until this point that you found as immensely valuable, or any lessons that are just like, I think about Roy all the time because he helped me figure this one thing out?
Yeah, one of the biggest values that I got from our engagement was the reviewing the daily emails, because it forced me to write a bunch of copy, and then it forced me to also send you that copy for feedback. And just every single email that I wrote, there was something that you found, whether it was, hey, structured thinking. There's a lot of incongruencies between the way you're connecting the dots. So what I want you to do before you write every single email is create a short outline so that you're giving yourself train tracks to play on. That was huge for me. Also, just things like, hey, when you're writing headlines, take into account my ABC formula. Audience, benefit, curiosity. It's a great way to get someone hooked into your message right away. And so almost every single email that I wrote, and I probably wrote close to 70 to 100 emails that I had you review, there was some kind of comment or many comments within every one of these emails that helped me refine my skill set as a copywriter. And all those lessons over the course of the last few months definitely compounded on top of each other. And now I just feel way more bulletproof and confident when I'm writing an email or writing a Facebook ad, whatever the case is. And that was all because of your, getting your eyeballs on everything that I was writing. It was awesome.
Yeah. Oftentimes it's lots of little tweaks, and it's hard to get those tweaks out of anything other than personal feedback. Awesome. And I don't know, without, I'm not trying to pick on you here. Like one thing that I remember specifically is I gave you permission early on to write your style emails and your company style emails, because you were kind of, you were trying to write like some email guru, right? I don't want to name them specifically, but it's easy to kind of get caught up in this like, oh, I learned from this person and what they're doing works for them. And, oh, but maybe what works for them doesn't work for me, and getting some feedback like that. And then also seeing opportunities like Oh, but you can copy certain things. And I noticed my camera going way in and out of focus here. Um, it can copy some specific things. Like there was a different email that I suggested that just killed it in terms of the number of responses. And you wrote it, but it was like, hey, this other email, I think it would work for your company. Uh, check that out. Um, yeah. Do you want to speak generally about um, I guess about the overall results? Like, how do you feel about the results of this? Some of it is probably more tangible, some of it's probably less tangible. But in terms of once you applied all these lessons, how do you feel as a copywriter now after this time working together versus before? And how is your role developing?
Yeah. I'd say like one of the biggest things that I've gotten from this engagement is just confidence in my ability to write copy, just from the sheer repetition and also the accountability that you held me to. There was a few times where, I personally wasn't showing up in my own role and you called me out on that, which I really appreciate. Like that's why I hire coaches and mentors, is to hold me accountable in some of those things. And you gave me some of that tough love throughout the engagement. And some of the tangible results is, well, number one, the emails were generating, applications daily for our company. And our company, our business is built on getting applications so that we can close clients into our business. And so just by having these emails perform better, whereas a lot of my emails were not generating applications, there were some days, even stretches of days, where I'd send out a couple emails and nothing was generated. Well, those numbers started to change. I was tracking all those emails, and now I started to see, well, we're getting almost at least one application a day, in some cases two, in some cases three, depending on the style of the email, the format. So that was a huge win for our company in terms of revenue. And the second thing,
one thing I'll say is you seem to have found kind of a good mix of, and this is a testament to the type of tracking you do. You found a good mix of, oh, these things work well for our company, and so we're gonna fully leverage these different formats versus kind of this piecemeal approach that was happening before.
Yeah, definitely. It helped me create a more streamlined, a simple strategy that I could almost follow. It wasn't like waking up and then just leaning on inspiration about what I was going to write that day. It was like, okay, cool. I have 3 months of data now. I see what our list is responding to. And now I can put them into a nice cadence where every week, it just makes it simpler on me, knowing that Monday, I'm going to write this style of email. Tuesday, it's going to be this style. Wednesday, this style, and so on and so forth. So that was just the peace of mind that came from that was incredible. The second thing was just my confidence with dealing with our own clients. So our clients, every one of our clients gets a call with me to review their marketing message. And it was so helpful to show up on those calls in the beginning where I was feeling a little bit unsure. I was going to these calls. I was like, all right, crossing my fingers underneath the table. I hope this goes well. I hope that I can spot something that's going to help them feel like they made a worthy investment into our program. Well, now it's at the point where like I'm getting on calls with clients. I know exactly, okay, here's like one or two things I'm definitely going to bring up that I know is going to be a game changer in their business. And then the cool part about this is our clients get off the call and then they share inside of our community how awesome the call was with Tim. And so now I'm getting recognition and celebrated inside of the community. So not only do all the other clients see that, my company owners and my team sees that. And so now I'm being edified. My value within the company is being recognized, and it makes me feel secure.
That's awesome. Yeah. And there's certainly been a lot of development. And, what I've loved about that is what seemed like a challenge at first, I was able to reinforce you were doing so much right. And then you were able to bring in some of the lessons from our reviews. And, by the end, it like I love over the process of working with somebody that all the tweaks get smaller. So even like with my own copy, I can always find tweaks to like make it better, make it better, make it better. But over time, it should be smaller tweaks and smaller tweaks and smaller tweaks. And so you were a great student in that regard because you were always learning. You were very open to shifting how you were looking at things or how you were doing things, and you would immediately apply the feedback. And so it's absolutely been great. So final question: if somebody's on the fence and they're saying, "Oh, should I invest in copywriter coaching with Roy?" What's your response?
Yeah, I would say, if you're wanting to work with someone who is going to go like above and beyond with reviewing your copy, who's going to hold you accountable throughout the period of the engagement. And I mean, Roy has such a history and track record of success working in some of the most cutthroat industries. And like, go to his YouTube channel and just watch 10 of his videos, read 10 of his emails. And like, there's almost proof in the pudding there that he knows what he's doing. But I can say this has been, and I've even told my company owners this, like, this has been one of the best investments I've made as far as my business and professional development as a copywriter. And it's priceless at this point, the amount of development and skill sets I've gotten. So if you're on the fence, just make the investment. You're going to thank yourself, down the road, and you're probably going to develop a really awesome friendship with Roy, because Roy's just, not only is he a great person to be mentored by, but he's just a cool dude. We always had some good chats whenever we hopped on these calls. So I generally see Roy as a mentor, but also a friend at this point.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. And I know that you have some big success in your future. So I look forward to hearing more about that.
Appreciate that, man.